welcome to the Sky 360 developer meeting. I'll be I guess the moderator today. Richard has some technical difficulties. Welcome
Oh,
everyone. Let's start.
Patty?
Howdy, howdy.
Hi. So Oliver, as I said, I printed this, and I'm missing the adapter, I guess, on top.
Yeah,
The file.
yeah. I would like to come to this, and I will show you some. So I printed a few of them too. As you can see, I printed this with my Prusa printer, and it's very nice. So it came out like this. Yeah.
So nice.
So no stringing and nothing but this. So I asked Richard today that he's giving us one more channel for 3D printing. So maybe this is a good idea that we can have a channel for 3D printing, and so we can exchange experiences. So I think we will start printing more and more all over the world, and so maybe we can use a channel for this, and he will set it up. Yeah. So I'd like to show you this. This is the latest adapter. It's the version 2.3. It's just a working adapter to get the sweet spot between the camera and the fisheye. And yeah, and we are very close here. So I'd like to share my screen. Please tell me when you can see my screen.
I can see it.
Yeah. Okay. So what you see in this picture is a focus between 0.7. Is it foot or feet when it's less than 1?
Good point.
I don't know.
Most likely feet.
Yeah.
So okay. So it's 0. It's right in the middle between 0.7 and the endless symbol on the focus ring. Yeah, and you see it's not very sharp. So I took a series. Then I have just on the endless symbol, the next picture. You see it's much sharper then. So I skip the next one. And this is a picture when I'm focused to the end of the fisheye, so it's more endless. It's not possible. Yeah, and it's
Infinity? So you're talking about infinity, right?
yeah, infinity.
Okay.
So this is the max infinity setting on the fisheye. And you see it's getting blurry and unsharp again. So I found this. So I found a sweet spot around here. I will do some more tests that I even come closer, just to let you know.
Somebody's printer is going.
Yes, Richard. Yeah.
So this is the focus position where I had the best image until now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's
so
Richard
Chris,
doing? Just okay.
okay.
Just one. I've been a photographer for landscape for a while, and I use like not wild, ultra wild lens like these, but the best focus point for infinity is not the top part of it. You have to test it and go back a little bit more.
Yeah, I did that. So this is you can see the fisheye. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the position that I found out is the sweet spot. You can go further on with the focus ring until you are here. Yeah. What we want to achieve is something with the sweet spot more like here in this area. that we have some more room to move when a 3D printing is not as exact in the Z-tate than it as it should be. So we have a little bit of possibilities to go left and round and find the sweet spot with the fisheye then. Yeah. So I talked to Richard, and I will, I think on Monday, latest Tuesday, I will get another version of the adapter. And I will print it then already like this, with the full setup, not only a working setup. And then I will do some more pictures with the camera and the fisheye, that we see where we are with the with the sweet spot. And my plan is just I printed the carriers, yeah, and each one receiving a carrier will then receive the adapter already printed in ASA, so that you can use it afterwards in your enclosure, in your station setup. So this is the plan for next week. So that's
Oliver,
what.
have you
Amazing.
talked? Has Christian tried this on his setup with the 50 millimeter yet? Do you know?
No, Christian is in hospital. Hopefully he will come out on Monday. So he wasn't able to test anything until now.
No worries. The only reason why I asked is because we're trying to do the same thing. I've got a 50 millimeter here that we can verify, because I know it's kind of hard to verify that on a fisheye, the different focal lengths. So this would be ideal using this particular lens. Then we know for sure the fisheye will be fine. But I wanted to try that same adapter here. Before you put on the big adapter, I wanted that simple.
Yeah, okay, it shouldn't be a problem. Richard, you are here, so maybe you can do me another working adapter. And I think it could be printed by Brad or someone else over in the US. Yeah.
Ido can do it because he's just a few miles from me.
Yeah.
So the problem I have is with my printer. So this is what happened to my adapter. I don't know if you can see the inside, but that's not.
Show it again, please.
It would be difficult to see.
Oh, really?
It's really bad. Yeah. So I need to, I guess, find again to reconfigure the printer and see. But this week
Do you-
will be rough. I'm going to be very busy.
Do you have a 50 lens?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a 50 millimeter lens?
No. I have the fisheye. That's what I have.
But
So,
Tommy,
yes.
are you sure that it's the same setup for the fisheye and the 50 millimeter camera?
That's the point. That's why we were working. Yeah, exactly. That's what Christian and I were working on to verify. I believe it is. The only way to prove it, though, is to actually put it on one of these and do the different focal lengths. That's the issue.
And Ida, which way did you print it? Did you print it this way?
Which way did I print it? Yes, I printed. No, the opposite.
So this way, that this is on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you could print it without any support. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had to change it on the G-code file.
Okay, so yeah, that's it from me.
Well, one other question, Oliver, is the settings on the camera. You've got exposure and whatnot. So, do we know for sure that those settings are ideal for daytime shooting, for example?
I just set the exposure times in K-stars so that I could have the best picture I could get, yeah, so that it's not overexposed or too dark.
That just looked really bright to me, so I didn't know if that was overexposed or not.
Yeah, so I can I will go back maybe for the next time. But I have changing lights here, yeah, and you know you have seen the snow, so there's a very big contrast between something in the shadow and something in the sun.
Yeah, reflection kills everything.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
Okay, nice. Okay, let's continue. Any updates from everyone?
Couple items, if I might. Yeah. In the world of 3D printing still, I started to produce these, the power supply holders. And I
Cool.
ran into an interesting situation. I don't know how well you can be able to see it, but if you look in here, there's no actually provision to bolt the power supply down. In other words, there's no lug or anything like that. You know, in other words, right? And I didn't know if they had, if they just wanted to strap it down or what, you know. But so that, so we need to get that addressed. And the other thought that occurred to me, and it was one of those, when I die and go to hell. What's that? Oh,
No, go ahead.
yes.
I'm sorry. Oh, you can continue.
Hmm.
Okay, I think what Richard wanted to say it. We glue it on the button of the station. So there's
Oh,
no
okay. Well,
screws in it, and we have this
okay.
polymer glue, which is really good.
Okay.
I tried it out, and it also helps you flatten the bottom of the enclosure. Yes, it gets more stability,
Okay.
and
All right.
so this is
'Cause,
working.
yeah, it just took me by surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just took me by surprise that and I was like, okay. But the other thought that occurred to me, and it's going back to the layout of the bottom of the enclosure. Like in the case of this particular power supply, the little and of course it wants to play with me. Um, the actual little length of the cord is a bit short, and the thought occurred to me that something like a plate, whoops, right about there, would very neatly hold it and put it right, easily accessible. And so the kind of question becomes: would that be a permittable, user modification, or would that get in the way of something else? Because I noticed that spot says something like all SkyCam pre-processing, and yet the way things are evolving, I don't think there's going to be anything right in that particular location. So I was kind of curious if in terms of uh, going forward, imagineering some small changes like that, would that cause a lot of heartburn, or should I just clam up and not worry about it, for a while? Just again, it's a thinking out loud kind of thing. I thought it'd be kind of a good way to do that, particularly if if the particular power supply you use does not have a long cable on it. So anyway, so that's about it. I just wanted to run that past people. I didn't know about the mounting for the power supply, which, like I said, it really threw me because there's nothing to hold it in otherwise. I just thought that's a little bad things floating around loose in the box. So
Yeah. So in
anyway,
principle,
that's all I really had there.
yeah. So one question for you: Did you receive the door inlays I sent you?
No, I have not received those. I was going to ask you about those.
Okay, so I will have to ask at the postal office. Maybe they know something where it went.
Yeah.
Should be there meanwhile.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so in principle,
Well, I've noticed, for some reason Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, please.
Oh, I was just going to say, I noticed for some reason overseas stuff right now seems to be taking a long time. So, yeah, I got some stuff supposedly coming in. It got put in China mail, and you know, I don't know if I'm going to see it or not. You know, so just, you know, there may be some, you know, situations there. So, okay.
So in principle, mounting anything, we went for gluing it with the MS polymer. First of all, you have enough in this box to glue, I think, more than we need. And secondly, if we have some changes, you can easily remove it with a sharp knife, and it leaves no holes for screws in the enclosure. So I think we are very flexible. And when you showed this with the short cable, I immediately thought, okay, I would glue mine to the side of the PSU. And this will hold, and when something changes, I just can remove it and put something else I need on. Yeah, without leaving holes.
Okay. Again, like I said, I didn't know the guiding, you know, ideas there, so it caught me kind of flat-footed because I'm just used to, okay, you know, bolt, screw, you know,
yeah, I'm a
press
screw guy
fit,
too.
you know. Yeah.
I'm a screw guy too. I like screws,
So,
but in this case, I think it's more comfortable and flexible when we go with this MS polymer.
Yeah, and I now that I know that, yes, I tend to agree with it off of hand. So it's just one of those. It really caught me by surprise. First time I made it to power supply up there, and I went,
yeah,
so,
I get it.
So no worries. Like I said, I'm just trying to be on board with, you know, whatever is supposed to be happening. I'm trying to make that piece that I'm doing happen that way. So I'm good with that.
I need to upgrade that power supply. I have actually the older one, this one.
Hey, Ido, did you see what Richard said in the chat?
No. If I move to the chat, it will mess up the entire recording. So.
It says, can you please answer the ghost that the position of the breakout board is just like for other boards on the floor? Okay, for you.
Okay. Yeah. So I had some play the last week with again my system is not stable, so I can't really test any of the code that I'm writing, but I use ChatGPT to kind of ensure that my code is gonna make sense. So I created the entire ROS2 node for the camera with the code to capture the frames. Fabrice, I know you said that it used the live stream video rather than the frame by frame, but that's easily should be able to change right now. I also added the Docker file and everything, and I'm working now to fix my system, but that will take several weeks. Again, I just got busy with work, so have some other stuff that I need to focus on right now. Yeah, so that's from my side. Everything is on GitHub also, but it's not tested. Again, I just can't taste it. Fabrice, did you get a chance to like look at it, test it, or anything?
Who are you talking to?
Fabrice.
Oh.
Fabio, I think.
Maybe he cannot hear me. I don't know. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Yes.
We hear you. Who are we looking for?
Summing up. Did I get your name wrong?
What? My name?
Me?
Yeah.
My name
Oh,
is Wayne.
it's Fabio? No, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Why did I say Fabrice? You see? My age. It's the problem. This and Corona,
No,
like, it screwed me over.
no, that's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. And so I was not understand what.
What was the question?
No, the question if you got a chance like to
Yeah, the ROS2. I just looked at the code, and I was trying let me just show here what I assembled here because I have a telescope here. So I put the 183 on the telescope just to get an image.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's working. I got it working with the SDK from the QSW, but it's using the single exposure. It's just too slow. I'm getting just like 0.8 frames per second right now using the direct connection. So it's just too slow. I will try to move to the live stream just to see if I can get a better stream, a better frames per second.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm making I'm learning a lot here because I have two QHI cameras and I'm switching between them just to test the code. And it was working perfectly with the other QHI, the 178, but with the 183 did not work. So I had to tweak a lot of things here. And right now it's working with both, but it's just too slow. So I'm just trying to make it better so I can try to optimize all the algos and and everything to work with the raw image from the camera.
Okay.
Even when it came from the ROS node, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So what's nice with the code sample that I put on GitHub, the ROS2, it shows you how to do the ROS2 parameters, so you can configure everything. It also has the diagnostics there. Show how to work with the diagnostic of ROS2. Yeah. And ChatGPT did a very good documentation, honestly. You guys should check it out.
No, man. I use it a
Basically,
lot.
to
I use
document
it
the
a lot.
code, and he just went and created a README and did. It was nice.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Any other progress, anyone?
I can give a update on the ROSbag stuff if you want.
Yes.
So I've got the ROSbag stuff implemented in the simple tracker, the ROS version, and I can give a demo of that if you guys want to see. I mean, sometimes these concepts can be a little bit abstract, so it's best to show you versus try and talk it through. Would that help?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Love to, yeah. Me too.
Let me know when you can see my screen, and then I'll run through it with you guys.
I still don't see the share. Oh, here you go.
Yeah, QC?
Not yet. Still.
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, it's just my broadband's probably a bit slow, so apologies for that. Still unable to see?
No.
Not yet.
Oh, still showing that
Oh.
it's going.
Sorry, maybe I didn't hit the OK button. Let me just give me. Sorry about
No,
this, guys. Let me just
it's
quickly try
turning.
again.
It's churning like it's trying to give it to us, but so you have access. It's just not giving it to us. It's like you don't have enough bandwidth.
We'll try again quickly.
We lost our transatlantic internet.
Oh,
Yeah,
now we can see.
just blame Vodafone. So, okay. So basically, I've implemented the ROSbag recorder, and so the main chunk of code is this bit over here, which I think you guys might have seen this before. I think I shared it on Hangouts, but essentially all it does is so this node subscribes to 5 topics. Each topic has got a header which allows us to use this time synchronizer. What that means is it just allows us to aggregate all the messages into the same timeline, even although they are published as to 5 separate topics. It allows us to aggregate that into one. So initially, I set up the ROS bag, which is this bit of code over here, and these essentially are the 5 tables, or I don't know exactly what the term is, but these are the 5 objects or the streams that are recorded currently. It's the masked frame, the tracking state, detections, trajectory, and prediction. You create the topics using the writer, and then when a track starts happening, which is this code check here, it will start recording, and it will just then record every message that comes in from that topic. So that's as far as I know, that's basically how I do it. So I can show you guys a quick demo. So basically, I'll try and stop saying basically. We have a couple of launch files I'd like to show. This is the recorder launch file that I have. One thing I would like to note here is I don't have the node. Two of the nodes that are core to me demoing to you guys, I don't have in this launch file. The first node is the annotated frame node, which generates the frame that you see. And then the second node is the visualizer, which actually displays that frame from the annotated frame topic. So neither of those nodes are in this launch file. So this launch file is purely just there for tracking purposes. So we only tracking. We're not displaying at all. So I'm gonna run quickly. So once I launch the recorder, in the top left up here, you will see another folder being created, which is where the recording goes into. So what we are going to record currently is I'm going to run my little simulation in a loop, and we'll just record. I'll set a timer, and we'll just record like a minute of that. So I'm just going to get it going. It's going. I'm just starting a timer just so that I can have some data, because I want to also demonstrate the playback of that recording. Sorry, I should have. So this is the new folder that has been created, and that is the SQLite database that is created, and that is where the recordings are being written to. So I just wanted to let it run for a little bit longer, and then I'll play it back. I kind of want to demonstrate how easy it is to play the stuff back, and I think it's a really good mechanism, in all fairness. So okay, that's about enough. So I'm gonna stop.
Command and control systems. You can't live with
Yeah. So okay, so I'm stopping the recording. So it's written the little metadata YAML file. Now I would like to play this back. So I have another launch file, which is this launch file over here. And what you can see here is it's a really slimmed down version of the original launch file. All it is it's the configuration service. It's the mask provider service. and that has to be up and running just because the visualizer service, the visualizer node tries to interact with it. So if the visualizer node didn't try and interact with it, it was in the past when I demoed the changing of the masks. So because of that, there's a dependency. So I just have to bring that node up. But if that dependency didn't exist, I wouldn't need to bring this node up. So the main things here is the configuration node, the configuration provider node, the annotated frame provider, and then the visualizer node. So there's no actual nodes that are doing any tracking or projections or any of that sort of stuff. This is purely just like some playback nodes. So I'm gonna run this launch file quickly. So these nodes are up and running now, and you can see nothing's happening because there's no information for those nodes there's no information being directed to those nodes. They're not doing anything. So I am now going to play back. So was it 2731? So that's just the folder up here. You can see it's just the name of this folder. So I'm just gonna ROS2 play that back. And so now we can see the data that was recorded being played back, being consumed by the annotated frame provider, which is drawing the information onto a frame, and then the visualizer, which is then displaying that frame. I just think it's really cool and neat that you don't need to have so many other nodes running in order to actually view the playback. It can be quite lightweight.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's quite neat. So because it draws its data from the database or from the playback, yeah, it I think it works really well. So so I'm just gonna stop that, and
Sure.
then
Can you go back to the initial recorder code? I had a small question there.
sure. Yeah.
Exactly here. So, can you explain to me why do you get the nanosecond when you do the
So that was part of the example.
Okay.
So I just copied the example. I don't actually know what that currently does. The only thing I will say is it's not used to synchronize the playback because the header of the messages are being serialized as part of the message, and that's the thing that's being used to aggregate those messages. So I don't know if that's maybe a primary key or not. I haven't looked. I don't know currently, to be fair. I can have a quick.
Because there is like a serialized message function that perceives it as a second parameter. So it's weird. Okay.
Yeah, I'll look into it a little bit at some point, but yeah, the main thing I kind of just wanted to demo is I thought it would be a lot harder to implement this, but it actually turns out it's fairly straightforward to implement, and it's so you can imagine now any other data that we want to record that follows the same sort of timeline. What I have implemented this last week with the help of David up in Scotland is we implemented a like an environmental data node, so that will tell us the percentage cloud cover on a frame. That needs to be expanded. The reasoning behind there is maybe there are certain background subtractors that behave better when there's no cloud cover versus when there is cloud cover, so forth and so on. So it's which I'm trying to build a mechanism that allows us to change the background subtractor based on environmental conditions if we need to.
Yeah, we need to discuss like the cloud situation and the phenomenon. If because I see a lot of like Twitter videos that are posting, hey, look at this cloud, this is weird. And
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna go. Yeah, so yeah, I'll just try and I'll just try and put these mechanisms in place and let you guys kind of battle with those decisions. Really, I'll just ensure that we can swap out or change stuff like the background subtractor or even potentially the tracker and all this sort of stuff based on certain conditions. And it, it's a different discussion then as to when it's the right time to do that and what the criteria are and all these sorts of things.
yeah.
Um,
So another
okay.
question I have about the ROSbridge, can you ask it to reply from a file like from a specific time?
I don't know. I know is the honest answer. I've not looked into it that much. So yeah. So I don't know. So I know we record. So that the header of the message contains timing information, and that's the thing that's used to obviously aggregate or synchronize those messages. But it's not a requirement. So it's not a requirement to store messages in a ROS bag, or it's not a requirement for topics. It's just if you want to synchronize messages from different topics. So I, it's something we can look into. I'm sure there must be. Yeah, I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Is the honest answer. But the one thing is that it will only record. So currently, the node will only record if there's a trackable, if there's an object that is being tracked. So when the bounding box goes green, that means it's like it's been recognized as a trackable object that we can track, and it's only at that point it will start the recording. So it doesn't record all the time. Prior to this meeting, I just did a quick so I did a quick sample um, of recording a 3600 by 3600 frame set for like 2 minutes, and it's about 7 gig. It's not much different to the previous. I need to dig into it a little bit more because I'm not sure why it's roughly the same size. So it records 10 gig per minute at 3600 by 3600 pixels in size. So um, yeah, that's something that I just kind of wanted to mention because it's a lot of data, and I think given that amount of data, we're probably going to have to somehow decide how to um, process that data. I guess so. So if yeah, so if what happens if a drive runs out of space, sort of thing,
Yeah. Yeah. All the
that
reliability
sort of
aspect
stuff.
of the recorder. Yeah.
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 So
Another thing
I
we will need in the future is actually have at least like 20 seconds or 30 seconds of memory of whatever happened in the last 30 seconds. Because when you want to record, when you actually have the tracker track and start recording, you want to record about 20 seconds, 30 seconds before that. And you need that available in memory to start dumping everything.
yeah, no, that is a fair point. I mean,
That's a
you
normal
know,
pre-alarm in like video surveillance, for example, right?
yeah. So I can do, yeah. So there's there's a mechanism in place now, but there's definitely going to need to be discussion around the criteria of when to record and what to do with the recordings as well. And like when do you overwrite, or do you know what I mean? Do you run a job to remove stuff, or all these sorts of things, or do you? I think yeah.
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 So think about
Um,
think about each one of these functionality as another node that does this specific task, right?
Sorry, just say that again. You dropped out there.
Every task that you think like that, like I need to clean up the database, I need to monitor, that there is no disk space, right? Each one of these is like a node service that runs and monitor, right?
Yeah, so I was thinking about the environmental, like I want to do like an environmental node that will let us know. I need to speak to David about this, but basically let us know if how much cloud cover it is. Is it day or night? Is it raining? Is it not raining? These sorts of things. Then I suspect we're going to need to have another node, which is, and I suspect some of this stuff. I'm sure there must be a package that has this sort of thing, but it's like system information, like how much space do you have on a drive, and all this sort of stuff. Because at some point I suspect, if the drive is filling up, then essentially I need to stop recording, sort of thing, and all this sort of stuff, So
Yeah, to the user, you need to clean up the data.
yes, yes,
Yeah. So
yes,
this is part of the kind of non-functional nodes that will run and monitor everything, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah, like
So
memory usage, CPU usage, temperature, right?
yes. And do you record that stuff? You know what I mean? Do you like what? So currently, the only thing I've recorded is the data that is used to assemble the annotated frame.
Yeah.
But there's potentially lots of other data that we could want to record, but that has an impact on the size of the data that's being recorded, and then you're
Yeah,
back.
but here is the thing. Even if you record diagnostics, right, it won't be as big as the video, right?
Agreed. Yeah. Let's hope so. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Now
Hey, Mike.
bear in mind, just a second, sorry, Tommy. You can set up a second recorder, okay, that records the non-important stuff.
Yes. So it depends on how. So one thing I could do is I could include, this message header that has essentially a timestamp and helps us to aggregate these frames together. So it really depends on if you want the ability to. So if you want the ability to have an overall picture of your station, which includes like the frame that's being recorded, the tracks, projections, trajectory, environmental data, is it raining or not, system, all this sort of stuff. It really so you can get a bit carried away with how much stuff and then because you've got this the timestamp in the header, which you include, you can then essentially you can be assured that when you interrogate that ROS bag, you have a very good understanding of exactly the state of this tracker at that point in time,
Yeah.
because you've got all the system data, you've got all environmental data as well as tracking data and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So
Let me help you a bit with iteration of what we spoke about several months ago when we initially spoke about like ROS2 and why it's so important, right? The idea, and now you actually see the picture that it's so much powerful that I can record everything. So the idea that when you record, you're actually recording the situational awareness of the system. So the more you record, the better. And it's
yes,
exactly right. Like in a command and control system, you have like three modes. You have the mode of configuration, when it's non-recording, non-observing, and you're configuring all the sensors and everything. Then there is the runtime, which is 99% of the time or 1% of the time you want it to be in runtime mode, right? that it's recording, it's monitoring the sky, and then when there is a detection or everything that you want to look back, then there is the investigation piece. The more situational awareness that you record, the better your investigation will be, right?
Yes. Yes.
I can tell you this is true 100%.
Yes.
Specifically when
No, I agree with you.
on battlefield simulation, it's super important, right?
Yes, no, I agree. It's just, but it does depend on depends on how much storage you have and all these sorts of things. I mean, I was also thinking along the lines of do we, like, for example, the frame that's being recorded, do we hash that and store a signature of that frame? And then I was thinking, do we have to be able to provide some sort of public key that is and all this sort of stuff, like, because I can hash the frame to ensure that we know the frame is not manipulated, but if anyone has the ability to access the SQL, the database that it's stored in, they can regenerate the frame and recompute the hash if they know how the hash was created. You understand what I mean? So it's like, so it's all that sort of stuff as well that probably needs consideration. It doesn't have to be for the alpha, but it's like, how important is data integrity? Do we want to ensure that the data that we capture, we have some sort of signature associated with it that cannot be tampered with?
Yeah,
You know?
calculating a hash for a single frame, it's easy. But when you have a
Yes.
feature that you're chaining the frames one to another, like blockchain, then it's becoming more of a problem. Now you need to create an entire video. And if it's several minutes, it's several gigs, right?
Yeah, it was mainly just to, if like you saw the code where we capture, like where we persist the data for that frame, and we save the frame, the tracking information, this sort of stuff, I can easily, include another record in there, which is essentially some sort of signature of the combination of that data, that makes, if someone tampers with the frame in the database, we should, you know what I mean? There's I'm not trying to say that's what we should do. I'm just raising it as a question, sort of thing,
So this is actually part of the security aspect of a DDS, okay? You can add that to everything that you're broadcasting. So you can configure the DDS to encrypt everything, to hash everything, and actually to chain everything to one another. So it will kind of, garble everything ordered. So if you want to tamper with it, now you need to tamper everything.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the same with the ROS bag, though, right? Because the ROS bag is just is unencrypt is, well, I've not actually had a look at the data storage, but it's the message that is serialized into, a table, for example.
But if the message has a hash already,
Yes. So, well, yeah. So I don't think the header that we currently use has knowledge of a hash. So it's something I can look into. Is basically, so then this mechanism must already exist, I would have thought, in ROS, because this is not going to be specific to our requirement.
no.
Ensuring the data is
This is under DDS security, okay? And there is an entire RBAC, like role-based access control, that you can actually configure. So for example, you can ensure that users cannot replay specific topics if they are not allowed to look
Okay.
at them, okay?
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
There is also encryption there, but I'm not sure about the chaining of the messages. That might be something that we will need to create ourselves.
What do you mean by chaining of the messages? Some of the messages.
You know how like a blockchain does the chaining of one transaction to another? Right?
Not really,
Not
but
a transaction, a block. Okay. So if I have message A and I have message B, right? And in message B, I'm putting the hash
Oh, okay. I understand.
Now,
Yeah.
now, if you tamper with B, you also have to tamper with A, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. Okay. I mean, this is probably. I'm probably getting into the weeds here with this. We can probably like take this offline and have a chat separately about it. But yeah. No. I just want to demo the bit that I want to demo. Sorry. Yeah. So I'll. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So, Mike, look in the chat. Richard's got it. Richard has a
Yes.
comment for.
So I'm a bit ahead of Richard there. I've already got that integrated into the tracker.
And Richard is saying, oh wow, see that?
Oh, you can hear. Okay. Yeah, I've already got that integrated into the tracker. Richard, David, and I were working on it this week, like Thursday and Friday. So yeah, so that's the we have both a daytime and a nighttime algorithm. The one thing that we still need to try and work out is when is a day and when is at night. So that's something, and I don't know. Like, I guess one of the things that would be good to know is do these trackers need to be able to be run like offline? So because I can easily implement something that pings a web service based on coordinates to determine whether it's day or night. But I suspect that's we can't do that because we have to support the ability to run offline.
Yeah, just speaking of day and night, we have also another problem because is that we're talking about exposure times of the camera.
That's what I was
Because
going to
it's
ask.
yeah, because one thing is when it's day and it depends on the amount of light. We need to change the exposure type of the camera, or else it will be useless.
Well, I was going to
And
ask how are you going to set up the camera to change those exposures, right? You can remotely do that, but each part of the world is going to have a different time zone. So are you going to have to just
yeah,
go by clock or something?
well, I was thinking about that right now because I'm just trying to get some image from outside and it's pretty dark, so I had to increase the exposure.
Right.
And then when I increase exposure, I got my frames per second a lot lower because since we're exposing more, we have less frames to expose, and that's another problem for the tracking and things like this because we will be working with like 1 or 2 frames per second when it's at night, and we can get over almost 19 frames per second when it's during the day. So we have to think about that also, and we need to figure a way to compensate the exposure times for the camera. We can change that anytime. We can change, it's a configurable value, but we need to figure out a way to do that. And then because it's something that to think about right now. Yeah.
In
I'm
your
wondering.
mind, it should be like an AI model that actually observe, the quality and alter the right.
Yeah, we can check the
Can't we
Well,
just put like a light sensor on the thing?
sure, light
No,
might
we can
make,
put a light sensor, but
but
we can also just get one exposure and see if it's just too bright or just too dark and compensate that. We can do that also. But I didn't play with that. We need to think about it.
no, I think the other issue is you got a gradual sunset, and you got a gradual sunrise. So you've got to compensate during that 1 to 2 hour transition.
Yeah,
And that's where the
yeah,
AI comes.
yeah. We can check the total amount of exposure in a frame and just increase or decrease the exposure time for the next one, for instance. We can.
Yeah.
There are probably some algorithms that already do that. We just need to see to look for one.
Yeah, there is something that is
Yeah, the thing is, something like CDS cell will to give you an idea what the relative brightness is, and that should help you, do a exposure setting. It should be a relatively simple thing to set up. Famous last words.
Yeah, simple is not always that simple, but anyway, one of the things is that exposure. It's so we can get the right image, so we can get a proper image, and the other one is also the frames per second that we need to think about it, because when it's at night, we will not be able to get 19 frames per second. That's impossible. We'll be get like 1 or 2 tops frames per second when it's at night. So that's it.
What
I'm
happens
betting about
if we drop the resolution?
Yeah, we can also drop the resolution and increase the beam. The beam is these astro cameras have the beam mode. The beam mode is like 1:1 or 2:2. The one when 3 goes all the way to 2:2 only. It goes not it does not go over.
I think you really need to look at like the histogram of the frame and see if it's too bright, too low, and start adjusting.
No, that's fine. We can work with that. That's okay. Yeah. I agree. That's a nice way to do that. That's nice. But I'm only talking about also we can increase the frames per second at night, for instance, if we change the beam mode. The beam mode is something that these cameras have that instead of using 1 pixel to get image to get the amount of image, it uses 4 pixels to get 1 pixel. So it reduces the resolution, but it gets a lot more more frames per second, and also a lot more light for 1 pixel. So it reduces the 20 megapixels to 4 megapixels image, but you get a lot more image in that sense, and so we can get a better frames per second in that case.
Yeah, we can get like on 1080p, we can get like 60 frames per second from the camera.
Yeah, when you get to 2x2 beam, so yeah, we will reduce the resolution, but we get more frames per second and a better exposure.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. We just need to think about it because these kind of parameters will have to be dynamic. So right now we're not doing that, but we'll have to figure out a way to do that.
So Fabio, so I've got so I've written like a configuration node. So I just want to mention this to you so it's in the back of your mind. Okay, so I've got a centralized configuration node or system which all the other nodes talk to get their configuration from, and also listen to any configuration items that have updated. So, and this is why I need to do this in order to, for example, be able to change resolution. Like in the past, when I've demoed that simulation stuff they did, in order to change the resolution and then change it back down, I need to reinstantiate objects at the point of the resolution change. Like for example, masks, you have to redo the mask. You have to reinstantiate that. You have to reinstantiate the background subtractor and all this sort of stuff. So if it's written as a ROS node, and using that node I can set configuration, then I should be able to just wire it in.
Okay, perfect. But anyway, one other option that we can do, I was just thinking about it right now, is that we can change the beam mode so the resolution will be lower, but we can scale that up to the full resolution. So we don't need to change anything on the other frames. It will just be a simple scaling up of the image. So it changes nothing for the video recording, anything like this, and for the background detector. It's just an option. I was just thinking.
Yeah, so it's no additional work. The changing the resolution is no additional work. All that stuff's already in there and working, and otherwise I wouldn't have been able to demo the changing of the resolution last week or the week before when I did that simulation stuff and increased the frame size and all this sort of stuff. I wouldn't have been able to
Okay.
demo that for you if that mechanism didn't. So that it's already in there is the point I'm trying to make. Okay.
Okay, perfect. It's just to be dynamic. So what?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Got it. Great.
It's amazing.
But then-
I think to look at yeah, go ahead, Tommy.
But then is that going to have to be changed, customized per location? Because not every location, for example, Alaska, their sun is 24/7 sometimes. Other times it's 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Just each location is different everywhere. So I'm
Yeah,
wondering if that's
it to be it to be a dynamic, and where you can use some method like the histogram, like he said, so we can look at to see if we're going like a bin for 101, 1x1, or 2x2, and the resolution itself. So that will be dynamic. It will not depend on the location. We'll just expose one frame, and if it's just too dark, then we increase it, and just it was too bright, then we decrease it. I think we can work something on that. I think that will be fine.
Yeah. Cool. We'll have an observer node that look at that and
Yeah.
make decisions.
Yeah, we need. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, we have to do that. Yeah.
And that can also help like monitoring the system. Hey, it's too hot. Shut down the camera. Right. And
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
already
true.
ahead of you, mate. I've got I called it an environment node, but it observer. I think I prefer the node the name. So I've already got that node implemented. I'm looking at whether it's what the level of cloud cover is. So
but it's going to be like a group of nodes. It's not one. Each one will focus on one thing, and you keep keeping a high.
well, yeah, but they can.
functionality.
Yeah, but you can. But I guess what I should say is I've got a package that has a node that does the.
Oh, got it.
But within that package we can include all the other sort of observer environmentally type stuff.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. We make it really automatic, really learning.
It
Yeah.
wasn't me. I just David did most of the work. I just basically copied his stuff into ROS. So I didn't do much at all really.
Thanks, David, and thanks to you. That's great. Yeah. Any more updates? No?
I have just a quick update. So, and maybe a question to Mike. So I tried to install the Simple Tracker today on Ubuntu, but when I follow I followed the Simple Tracker repository, not the ROS2 Simple Tracker. So that is my first question. Is that the right way if I want to just use the Simple Tracker, or should I go with the ROS2 version?
It kind of depends on it kind of depends on what you want to do. I think in future the ROS2 version is going to be the one that will I'm duly maintaining as best I can currently, but I think at some point the ROS2 version is going to be the one, like the dominant version. So I would probably suggest going down the ROS2 version. It does depend on what you want to do. Like for example, so I'll give you an example. So I've already implemented the ability to run the Simple Tracker in headless mode. So you can like launch a Docker container with an input direct video, run Simple Tracker, and it'll produce an output for you. There's no visuals, but it'll produce an output, and it'll produce like an MP4 file and JSON files and crops of images that you use for training material.
Okay, that is what I would need because I need more training material for the kinematics approach.
Okay, so then
I have, yeah.
yeah, so the simple tracker, not the ROS2 version, should already be able to provide that output to you.
Yeah, I just
I think.
when I try to set it up, I always get an error message, and I got
So
that in
do you
also in Ubuntu now.
run it using Docker?
Yes, I do. I follow the instructions that you wrote in the repository. So I run it in Visual Studio Code, and then then the development container is set up automatically, and then I run this run.sh file, and then I get an error message. I can show it to you. Maybe you have an idea what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing, because it should work. You know, that kind of should work, really.
Okay.
Famous last words, but yeah, if you want to take it offline, May, if you're about after the meeting, we can quickly run through it if you want.
Yeah, today I have time actually, so I just try to share my screen. I just set up my Ubuntu today, so I hope it works. I never did that before here in Ubuntu. Does it work?
Yeah.
I can see your screen.
Okay. So when I do this, you see my terminal now, right?
Yes. It's,
Okay.
I just want to see if I can make it bigger.
I can increase the font size.
No, it's fine.
No?
It's fine. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. I can see. Sorry.
Okay, I leave it at that. Okay. So when I use this run.sh command, that's what I get currently. So I think the main thing is, or error message is this one, this QT QPA.
Okay. I know what that is. I know what that is. Let me just quickly see if
stuff where you need to type X host plus. That worked for me.
Yeah, I just want to see if I've got. I just want to see if there's. I know I've written it up somewhere, so I just want to kind of find the. Oh, it's you're right.
The
It's
display
not.
host name. You need to set it to internal.docker. Let me see what I have.
Okay. So if you have some instructions that I can follow, that would be great, I guess.
Yes, I do, mate. I'm sorry. Yeah. So if you can you click on the Docker files repository. I'll send you a link quickly.
Okay.
Let me just copy this. It's an oversight on my part. I need to include this in the this I got so many places where I need to maintain documentation.
So you copy a link in the chat or what?
I can do. I just sent it to you with DM, but I can put it in the chat.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
Let me know if you see it.
So I just opened that. Do you see that as well? Okay, here's running simple tracker export display. Okay, should I just copy that and run it?
So it does depend on what screen you're on, but normally it's 0. So normally it would be 0.
Mm-hmm.
So I write on 0 and then run the command below that, the xhost plus as well. Okay. Not from within the container, from outside the container. Actually, can you close VS Code?
Yeah.
And then just go to your terminal. And then if you run it from there,
Okay.
and hit enter, and then the other command, the X host, whatever that should be.
Mm-hmm.
Exhaust plus.
And now just
Okay.
type code and hit enter.
Okay.
And then if you just try it again, so if you try that again there,
Run.
yep.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Oh,
It looks good. Do I have to do that every time I want to start the program? This.
I think it's once per session, but if you see that error, you just have to do it. I have to do it as well. It's
Okay. Yeah. Never. I just want to know. Okay, that's perfect.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Thanks very much.
no worries.
Put in the bash RC if you don't want to do it.
Hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now I can start processing. That's great. Okay.
Cool.
Was that
That
Jackie
was
Adelaide?
basically everything from my side.
Okay. Anyone else? Richard?
I have a quick update.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a big fan of Chris Leto's videos, and I saw on his Patreon that he was coming to Brussels. And oftentimes in his videos, he mentions Sky 360 has been near launch or almost ready. So I invited him to my house to get a demo of the state of development. So I took everything I could find from the Discord server to show how everything is working, the hardware, the climate control, the classification of tracks, and the simple tracker. So I gave him an overview. He recorded everything. So I said submit it to Richard if you want to release it first. And yeah, it was fun meeting him. He's a pretty nice guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm going to send you on sales missions right now.
you're what?
We will send you for sales. You'll be our salesperson. I'm joking.
Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm a good salesman. So I said something like I said something about the delay, and I say it's not a month from now. So I took two breaks in the whole development, and I said there was a year between this and this. So I was pretty vague in my estimate, but it's definitely not 1 month.
Yeah, it's step by step.
Well, who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
so
With the advent of ChatGPT, we could get faster now.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's
So,
yeah, just from discussing today, right, and speaking about like how we can monitor the station, how we can auto adjust like the exposure, different daytimes around the world, right? That's already showed the progress of what we discussed like a few months ago, right?
Oh yeah.
that's on top of what was discussed a few months ago.
Yeah. Now
Um,
bear in mind a lot of this, so we all know that we need a functionality. We all know how to build it now into ROS2, make everything configurable. It's there, right? We are getting close to actually have the adapter working, so now we can actually test it and start automating that, right? And that's what
Yeah.
will be probably the next several months on doing that, right? It's not that you go, you buy a camera, it's fully working, integrate, everything is automatic, and you're done. This is
not.
manual custom. So it's challenging.
Yeah.
of it. It's yeah, but it's a
No, it's very
good
complicated. Yes.
camera, so it can do a lot, and once we figure it out, it will be good. Yeah. Nice. Any final words? Anyone? More updates?
Not for me.
Okay, so I guess I'll sum it for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good week. Bye.
Y'all have a
guys.
wonderful day.